Hey folks, so if you want to create something like this simulations where you can swap your objects in 3D and like this with particles also, it is very simple. Now let's do it in Blender, and in this video I'm gonna tell you how you can do exactly the same. So let's start with the default new scene. So first, when you open the scene, you have the light and camera. Just remove the light and camera. Now if you want another object, you can just swap it, but I'm going to use a sphere and a cube. So let's bring the sphere, and now we have a sphere and a cube. Now click the cube and subdivide it a bunch of time, because the higher the subdivision goes, the cracking of the cube, it will be easier for that. And it already have the subdivisions, so I'm not subdividing it again. Now selecting the cube, and you can see it have a orange border which is a highlight. Now select which is the highlight, the swap object gonna be that one. So let's go for quick explode, and you can see we have our explode option, but if you play now it will not work because you need to change the option to blend. Now you can turn on fade or off the option, then you can see what it does actually. For now I am going to turn it on, and you can also decide how many pieces you need for this tutorial, so I just give 500. Now let's play. Okay, that's looking fine, but we need a bit more tweaking. Like you can see the cube that we have, and you can go to the particle settings, it have a particle system here, and same for the sphere also, it have its own particle system. Now you can change them to randomize the scatter value, the rotation value. Like where the frame start is the frame start where the cube start breaking, like in frame 1 the cube start breaking, and the end frame is where it stop breaking or it finish the breaking. So like if you do like frame whatever you say, like frame 5 to frame 10 or like frame 12, so it start with 5 frame and end at 12 frame, like you can see, and there it goes and on. So you can do the same for the sphere also. So if you have a little bit pause before the scene, you can click the sphere and cube from here or in the outliner also. So let's say I use it same for 5 and let's make it 15, so a bit of variation we have here. Now you can see we have a little bit variation already. Now the sphere, when it snap, you can see like it's all snapping together. So you can randomize the lifespan, and the lifespan is when the sphere gonna finish. So now if you see, you have a little bit randomized value. Now play the simulation a bunch of time. You need to play the simulation a bunch of time for this one, and need to tweak a lot of settings according to your need. Now you can see our cube is now turning into a sphere, and you can also make it shade smooth. So when it turn it to sphere, in flat you have flat pieces, and if you take it smooth, it will provide you the smooth faces here. So according to your need you can change that thing. Now the main thing here is when you go to the shader properties, you can change the shader also of that. So you can change here the color, but make sure you are pressing the upper shader under the factor, or you can go to shading and just change the BSDF file with any of your shader map or anything you need. So that's all for the shader. Now you need to change like the roughness value, the other values, and you can see we can see the cube, the sphere now. So we can see the sphere now. Just use the value and we make it shinier and it a bit darker. So that's all. We going to move it till 100 frames because As you can see, our simulation just stopped a lot earlier than we expect, right? Now when it stopped, you can see the frame where it ends plus the lifetime of that total simulation is when the simulation gonna stop. So is 65, and you can just like figure it out by calculating the, or just simple mathematical addition, and you can determine the time here also. So it's almost like shorting there, and you can also see the start frame. We just need a little bit delay, like +5 to every frame, like +5 at the starting, at the ending. Same for that one, +5, +5. So what it does, it will provide us a little bit gap before it break down, because yeah, we need to see the cube first, then the it breaking, then the sphere. Now it normally ending at 80 frames. You see, you have a particle system here. Now if you click on the particle system, you can add another particle system on that particle system. Now I am using it like follow. Make sure you have the particle system on the cube. Use the follow for the name. It's not necessary, it's up to you now. Now you can see we have particles again. So these are just emitting from the pivot point of the cube, and it's continuously doing that because the end value is 250, like from 250 frame it will emit. Let's make it 25, and let's just start from 5. So it will start emitting from 5 and emitting at 25 frames. And how many of that? Let's say 100 for simpler, easier way to manipulate them or control them. Now you can go to source, make it to volume, so it will go into the volume, and use the modifier stack. This is important because if you don't use that, it will not look like that. Now it's following our cube. You can see it's following our cube. You will have more. You can see now it following our cube volume. But when it ends, it start falling from the pivot point. Now make it like where you need, or the lifetime and the end time. You need to play around a bit to get the result, but yeah, you can see the lifetime is how much longer it lasts. So just randomize it also. Now the next thing we need is go to the field weight and remove the gravity, or move the gravity to 0. So it will not fall down, right? It will float around the area. And also it going to cube, and we need to go it that way. So we add a force here and add into a new collection. Okay, so press M and add it to a new collection. Write it following. Now if you click on the emitter you have in the follow, and you can see here we have a effector collection. Just add the follow collection in there, and it will directly affect the particle system. You can see it pushing the particle system that way. Now go here and make it -1, so it will attract, not push that particles. So it will now dragging the particles towards it way, and you can see it's already done its job. You can add the particles now, because those particles won't render, right? So we need our own particles. Add a cube, add a icosphere with one subdivision, because there are a lot of particles, so we don't need much subdivision mesh here. Now go to the cube and go to the material settings of the cube, and you can come here from also. So add a emission shader first, then you can add a object info node. Now what it does, you can see it's black, so we come here again when we have that point. Now make sure you turn off the collection settings and the write. So the tick mark and the I button, just turn off them because we don't need them right now. Now go to the render option of the particle system of the cube and make it to collection. Okay, after making it collection, just add the collection you created. Just pp means per particle. So yeah, now you convert or switch them with your own particle system which you have created. So you can choose anything like that. Place the random and use the rotation value now, because it just standing still, it will not rotate. Now we have a random rotation of our particles also. Go to the follow now folder or like in box and add a turbulence also. So turbulence, just the name suggests, is just randomize the particle system a little bit. So it looks better. It's optional. You can see it's, if we just move the strength a higher value, so like 1.5 is broad. So yeah, it's just randomizing a bit. You can also in the force and use a noise amount, so it will like attract each particle in a different value, so it just provide a good amount of noise. One is enough, I guess. So see, it's just make the simulation more dynamic. Now you can take your time to fix both of the values, both of the effectors here. Now add a camera and fix it where you need it. Like for me, it's here. Yeah, it's looking good for me. Now we just make the strength 2 because we need it come towards it a little bit. Now it's doing its job perfectly. It's coming towards the circle, the sphere. Now you can change your parameters like however you want. You can move it way further, way closer, that's up to you. Now go to the shading tab where we left before. Now you can just drag and open your own shading tab here, because switching the tabs multiple times is a bit nasty way, so it's a bit awkward. So just go to your cube and sphere and click your cube, and let's say we have our location. Now what it does, let's see, it creates randomized particle color. You can see, so depending on its position, the particles generate its colors, and it's the thing we need for this tutorial. Like randomized color for our randomized like random particles. It's better than using the random value here. Now just add the same material in the sphere also. Now you need another option where you remove the black particles. You need a mixed color node. Set the factor. You can see we have white and black value, but we need to change a little bit here because those are going to be a bit more white than it needed. So go to difference and add it 0 for now, and add it any color you want, like green or anything. So you can see it's just like changing that color, not affecting the higher tones of other values, right? So something like that, and we can check where the black values are not available at all, and that is the value you want here. Okay, I'm just crank up the strength a bit for the emission shader. Now you can turn off that, so we don't need it anymore because we applied the shader, as you can see. Go to the follow-up. You can see you have cache, rotation, and all the options. So just close them. You have the render option, and you can apply the scale. You can look, they are all scaling together, but you have a scale randomization below that. So you can make it like something 0.7 or 0.6 and make the particles a bit smaller. So it will be a randomized scale, also randomized rotation, also it have different colors. So we are done with our particle system. Now make the particle more. 500 particles is enough, I guess, for this scene. Yeah. It's looking nice for me. So this is your output properties mainly. If you're going to export the file, you get something like this, which you don't need or want mostly. So go to the world settings. You can change your world color and strength, all the things from there. Now you have color and a yellow dot, just press that and use the sky texture. Now you have a default sky texture of Blender. Now you can see we have good reflections, also the sky lights. You can see we have a border here, and you can just make it way up, but you can see that 60,000 is the limit, so we need 10,000 something. So between that, so 10,000 is something like a far above the ground. And yeah, I guess you can see that. And if you want to remove the harsh shadow, you can just turn up the sun intensity and sun size. You can play with them. And yeah, I guess you are almost done for here. Now one thing we need, we can't really see all the particles in the bright light. Like you can see, we can't see all the particles from here. So what we're gonna do, we make it transparent, the background. So where we go to the film option in the render properties and make it transparent. So you can see we have a transparent background right now, and you can change the background color according to your need. Now how you can do that? Go to compositing, go to use nodes, click the use node anyways. Now press Shift A and add a node called alpha over, and just connect it and connect the render layer in the second image panel, and this is the color of the background you're going to be. Like if you want blue, so just make it blue. Now we are going for the render settings. You can see we have our max sample, something like 50 is enough for a simulation like this one. And the denoiser is of TX. Definitely you have cycles with GPU compute on if you have a good GPU. Then in light settings, just turn off caustics because we don't have caustics in the scene. And that's all for the scene for now. And go for render. You can just go and render it just by clicking render. Now I am just rendering an image to just see what happening here. Now you can see this is not what we want, or we can see in the screen, but we can fix it. Let's fix the background. Let's see. So add a viewer node, connect it with the viewer node, so we can see it here. And now change the background whatever you need, like something this much darker. You can also change according to you. I just need dark, very dark blue background. Now you can see this is the render layer, and whatever you render now will change the background and all those things. Go to the particle system of the cube, and if you bake any of that, just remove the bake settings and bake only the follow particles we created. Okay, just the follow particles bake. Don't bake all dynamics, just bake the follow particles. Now you can see we created our particles and the issue is removed. And make sure you never click that camera. The camera need to be turned on, otherwise you can't see your particles in the different folder if you have in different folder. So that's all, we almost done. Now let's go for our render setting. Save before going to render, definitely. Then go to render animation. Okay, after the render, you go to the render file and let's see what we get. And we get something a bit, the problem of this is very simple actually. I faced it few times where you can see if we go into render, the cube just like stays there, or the image processing or something, I don't know. Go to motion blur and add the motion blur. Now you can see we have something. Change it to end of the frame. Add motion blur and change it to end on frame. so you get the perfect value you need. Now re-render the full file again. So for you, just render it. Now you can see we have our particle system ready, and you can create a lot of combination and things, and if you want you can create smokes and other effects with the particle system. The explode node can be used in various factors, so let me know in the comment if you need further tutorials on this topic. So I will definitely gonna create a detailed video on the explode node and all the dynamics in Blender.